Sony is killing Canon. So in a recent YouTube video I did where I compared the C70 to the Sony a7S III, I got a lot of hate in the comments because I pointed out all the things that were wrong in the C70 and Canon fans hated it. I'm still a Canon user. I have heaps of Canon cameras in our kit, and all I was doing is just pointing out the fact that they're calling this C70 a cinema camera, but it didn't have cinema camera features. I also mentioned in that video how Canon always seemed to cripple their cameras, and personally I was sick of it, and that's why I was buying the Sony a7S III. It was so exciting for filmmakers to finally get a camera without any major crippling. Now the FX6 has been released and everyone is freaking out and losing their minds about this camera. And there's only one reason, and that's because it hasn't been crippled in a major way. We are so used to camera manufacturers, including Canon, who cripple their cameras at camera releases. We get so amped and so pumped for this new camera that's going to come out, but it doesn't do 4K 120. It's cropped. So this new camera, the Sony FX6, doesn't seem to be majorly crippled at all. It seems like the perfect camera. In fact, this camera is actually better than the more expensive FX9. Now, if I was an FX9 user, I would be pretty pissed off. I paid all this money for an FX9 and now a new camera comes out with all the specs that I've been waiting for in a cheaper body. So all you FX9 users, I think you have a right to be angry. But for those who haven't invested in the FX9, this is a dream camera. Yes, it is much smaller, but is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? That means we can chuck this camera on gimbals and stabilizers a lot more easily, and then have the flexibility to build this camera out as a shoulder rig or as a big cinema camera. Now for the price, the FX6 is far better than the Canon C300 Mark III and the C70 in my opinion. You are getting a far better camera for your dollar by buying the FX6. Now you might be a Canon user with a whole bunch of Canon glass and you're in the Canon ecosystem, so therefore maybe the FX6 isn't for you. So take what I say with a grain of salt, apply it to your personal situation. I'm just saying that the Sony FX6 is a far better buy for your dollar than the Canon cameras at the moment. What you get for that dollar is a full frame sensor, 15 stops of dynamic range, 4K 60 and 4K 120, HD at 250, dual native ISO. The FX6 is better in low light than the Sony a7S III, S-Cinetone color coming straight from the Sony Venice, hybrid autofocus, XLR ports, 16-bit RAW output, and a built-in electronic variable ND. And you get all this for $5,998 US. Now I wasn't sure whether to make this YouTube video or not because there are already a bunch of FX6 videos on YouTube at the moment. I did want to just put my 5 cents in comparing Sony to Canon once again. Being a long-term Canon user, I am continually disappointed by Canon's recent releases and absolutely blown away by a few of the Sony releases lately. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to agree with me and say that I'm biased and I'm paid by Sony. None of these videos are paid. I have Sony gear, I have Canon gear, and I have Red gear. So I just want the best system for my dollar, and I want an outstanding cinema camera with all the features that I've paid for. And that wraps it up. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for hanging out. If you did like the honesty in this video, give it a thumbs up, not a thumbs down. Give us a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.